Me say we just get the remedy for the pagan them. Me just get the remedy for bad mind and jealousy. Who want to see me dead? Me just get the remedy, Suck TV. Jam me say. You don't know what Javinche you watching Suck TV. Lord, is it straight triple dose.
Welcome to SAT TV News. I am Shanna Esprit, your presenter. Among the major developments, Denny Shillingford and Earl Grant denied bail. Canadians seek extradition of Bahamas doctors from Panama. El Salvador court denies seriously ill woman abortion. Details of these will follow.
Yo, this is Michael Ginger, you know this guy from Carry Me, the one sending all the buzz all over. You know, when you see me, you on the best TV. It's called SAT TV, the people's choice, and Carry Me's choice.
Welcome back. 171 participants are better prepared for employment as they received recognition for their success at the 40th Youth Skills Training Program at the Arawak House of Culture on Wednesday, May 29th. Out of the 5 modules, the computer literacy module was the most popular, with a total of 47 participants from Roseau, Portsmouth 22, Wesley 17, Castlebruce 16, Grand Fort 12, and Grand Bay 17. Other modules, including building maintenance, obtained 10 graduates in Marigot, 3 completed computer maintenance at the Roseau Youth Center, 9 in Ackwell at Jimit, and 10 in furniture repair in the state prison. Chief Youth Development Officer Mr. Roach said, despite increasing economic challenges over the years, the commitment of successive governments ensured the survival of the program.
The Youth Development Division has stood the test of time and continues to respond positively to these challenges. We continue to remain focused and committed to the development of the youth of Dominica. We have a job to do in the face of all odds. And as we look back to the last 3 decades of the Youth Skills Training Program, we take great pride in knowing that about 7,000 young people have been afforded entry-level skills which has transformed their social, economic circumstances.
Mr. Roach said the findings of a survey conducted by the Youth Development Division for 2010 to 2012 were recently published, with a total of 311 graduates. Participants completed 10 training modules all over the island. 4 of the 10 modules combined registered 69.4% employment success.
These were computer maintenance 87%, building maintenance 76%, home appliance repair 62.5%, and hospitality arts 52.2%. It should also be noted here that 48% of all those who had found jobs, that their jobs were directly related to the module which they had completed.
Avenues for employment have been created for approximately 230 entrepreneurs who are self-employed through livestock, fishing, vegetable farming, manufacturing, ITC, and other services.
The division has embarked on a curriculum development initiative for all modules on the Youth Skills Training Program. Earlier this month, the division held a curriculum development workshop with local instructors and technical personnel from the Education Enhancement Unit and the Dominica State College to develop curricula for 9 modules. These include sewing, auto mechanic, construction, woodwork, plumbing, computer maintenance, electrical wiring, arc welding, and hospitality arts.
He urged the graduates to build on the foundation that the Youth Development Division has created. In other stories, in an interview with SAT Telecoms, one of two Dominican fishermen who were found after 4 days at sea says it was a true test of survival. However, his determination was what kept him alive. Mr. Timothy Lewis of Victoria Street, Newtown, who was lost at sea along with Mr. Davidson Etienne of Forbawa, Loubier, went fishing on Saturday, May 18th at about 8 a.m. in the Martinique Channel outside of Scott's Head. However, while on the fishing trip, seawater mixed with their fuel, causing one of two 85 horsepower engines on the open keel boat named Blade to malfunction. He then quickly began to work on fixing the second engine.
But suddenly I see the next boat outside us. We were already 20 miles. But the boat was a little bit further until we start drifting and get closer to the boat. And the other guys and them tell me they were from Maricot, but that wasn't true. It's when I reach Barbados I get to know they were salvation. But in assisting them and kind of a huge wave that was outside, their boat had a leak already and the boat just go down. So I decided, well, to help them. Help them, put them on board, take the tarpaulin, make a roof, but with that hot sun, oh my goodness, it's like you're in an oven. So then after a while, everybody they eat the little bread and buster that way, and so then they decided, what are we doing? Are we going to go to land? But at the time now, we can't get to land because what had happened now, the amount of rain and the cloud is like a blanket in front of Scotland, in front of Dominica. You cannot see. But all of my partners end up deciding, well, that is the way. I think that is the wrong way to do, just to presume and say that is the way. But I give him the opportunity, let him do what he's doing. He go. And what I observe he doing, the waves are hitting the back of the boat. And you know, anytime the wave hitting the back of the boat, you are going west.
Mr. Lewis said after some time he realized that the fuel was not sufficient to make it to land, so they had to stop and allow the boat to drift. He then decided to use a tarpaulin they kept in the boat to make a sail so they could try to sail towards the shipping lanes in hopes of being seen by a cargo boat or cruise ship. After some time sailing west in the distance, he saw what appeared to be a cruise ship, so he used the small amount of fuel they had left to motor to the ship.
When I reach, go down to the boat, I start waving and shouting, and the people and them now taking out photos and waving. And they said I was mad. I tried to shout to them that I'm in distress, but the music playing and what. Then the boat passed me by, but that time they went into neutral, but that big boat now, the amount of power it have, the strength is keep going, but they already neutralized. And when it passed me and I watch at the back of the boat, I see the color of the water, like as a fisherman I know well. That boat not India, and I seen the way the water at the back, the color is like light green blue. So I checking like, what that boat going in Stillman River? Yeah. Then after I start to see some big waves mounting up at the back of the boat and at the front of the boat. So I decided now I'm going up to the bow of the boat or the cruise ship. When I reach in front of the cruise ship, I start waving and shouting and put everybody voice in one saying that we need help, we are adrift and we are on the sea for a couple of days. Then suddenly I saw one of the security, the captain, way up in the wheelhouse up there, but I saw his palm of his hand did that 3 times to me. Then I say, wow, Mr. Observers, and he go down and stop.
According to Mr. Lewis, the captain then turned the cruise ship and a line was sent to them from a hatch that was opened near their boats. However, things took a turn for the worst when the sea ladder that was extended turned and slammed down into the engine of their vessel. As the ladder pressed down the back of their boat into the water, it punctured and began to sink. Mr. Lewis explained, and I quote, "When that happened, the 3 other guys ran so fast onto the cruise ship using the ladder. It was like they literally walked on water. The captain and I were the last men left on the boat, but I jumped into the water."
But what happened, the water pressure now, it trying to suck me below. And the way it have the boat pulling the boat down. So he said, well, see how you gonna die there now, right? But I still say, no, I'm gonna die. Not now, I'm a good swimmer. Then I force and I swim with all my clothes on me and the light jacket. And I'm shouting, please send me a line, send me a line. For what reason? One send a line. But I know that line is going to send it. Too short, But I say, let him send it. And he send it. The line fall in my hand edge was, and I have not even an inch extra, overlapping, man. So I decided, well, I haven't got a name for vice grip again, but what I hold here, it tighten on the vice grip. So then I hold that, and I try to take that hand to hold, but whatever, the current and the wave pulling me that, but I end up doing it and I hold. But I still free to let go, my left hand to take another grip, you know. But I did it, I hold a grip. Now I telling them to pull me. They end up pulling, they pull, and then I hold, I come up, they held me, they take me in, they give me bath towels and clothes, they tell me to take out the wet clothes I have on me.
Following that incident, he said all the men were treated for sunburns and were checked by the ship's medical doctor. They were placed in rooms where they slept until they arrived in Barbados. While there, they were checked by immigration officials before being escorted on a plane back to Dominica. They were then interviewed by police upon arrival to the Melville Hall Airport and later released. In more news, the Prime Minister of Dominica, Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, said his main priority is to write to the French government to seek clarification on a media report that has sent shockwaves throughout the island. French officials accused the Dominican government of lacking transparency and has blacklisted the country, among others. The French government will be banning the use of their banks to transfer funds to Dominica upon its refusal to cooperate with the investigations of foreign aid fraud. The Prime Minister, who addressed the media on Wednesday 29th May, said that no communication transpired between the government of Dominica and the French government with regards to the issue.
I contacted the French embassy yesterday, and the French embassy itself had no formal communication from its government in Paris on this blacklist. It is at the moment a report from the media out in Paris. I intend to write the government of France seeking clarification on this matter, because the government of France has never written to us, has never called us, has never emailed us on any concerns they have in respect to Dominica. We have implemented a number of measures to the satisfaction of our peers at the CFATF and the OECD in respect to efforts to combat money laundering and improving the banking system and the transparency of the banking system in Dominica.
Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit gave in-depth explanations of the operations of our banking systems in Dominica, refuting all allegations made by the French government.
We know that our banking system is supervised by the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, and people who do business with our banks in Dominica will tell you of the rigorous processes insofar as money is coming into the banks and transactions of foreign exchange by the banks, including monies that come from agencies and governments to the government of Dominica. We have to fill out forms as a government at the National Bank, for example. So it has taken us by total shock and surprise of that news item coming out of Paris. But as I indicated, we have not gotten any official communication from the French government.
He believes there is no basis or justification for that action, if at all it were to be true. According to the AIDS Development Minister, Mr. Pascal Canfin, the aim of blacklisting these 17 countries is primarily preventative to put pressure on these countries by publicizing the list to progress towards more transparency. And in other related news, a French diplomat has denied press reports that the French government has blacklisted 17 countries, including Dominica and Trinidad and Tobago, due to lack of cooperation in investigations of foreign aid fraud. According to the Trinidadian Express, French Ambassador Jacques Strom, there is no blacklist. He says the list in question comes from the France Development Bank. It is a working list for banking procedures and not an official list of the French government. He went on to say that the French government has an official blacklist which does not concern this issue. Mr. Strom also stressed that Trinidad and Tobago was not getting any grants or loans from France Development Bank because it did not qualify because of its gross domestic product. And in entertainment, pastors from Dominica living abroad have collaborated with the local Christian community to host the Dominica Crusade 2013. The crusade is scheduled for the 21st to the 28th of July, and a week of activities have been planned to commemorate this event. Mrs. Beverly Libla, the local coordinator for the Dominica Crusade, spoke of the fundraising activities that the public can look forward to.
As part of our fundraising, because these events they take a lot of money, as part of one of our fundraising events to help with the cause, we are having a fundraising concert on Friday at the Codewell Primary School grounds. The concert will have local artists, Johan Henry, Priceless, we'll have Cernel, Godsent, Kareem. We'll also have some drama by the People's Pentecostal Family Church Drama Group, but we have a guest artist with Stephen Murphy from Jamaica who lives in Florida.
Tickets for the concert cost $20 and can be bought from Ellen Paul at the Legal Aid Office, Mrs. Libla at the Achievement Learning Center, and at Voice of Life. Mrs. Libla said that the monies made from the concert will go towards the expenses of hosting the crusade.
We are looking forward, we are looking to assisting. We cannot cover everybody's transportation, but if there's a particular church for whatever reason, because we want as many churches in Dominica from all around the country to participate. So we are looking at assisting some churches with the transportation or for the daily expenses of the crusade. We have to think of accommodation, we have to think of so many other little things. The crusade will take place at the Windsor Park Stadium. We have to pay for that facility. We have to pay for the sound system, the chairs and the tents. So we have a lot of expenses that we have to cover. So the proceeds of the concert will be going towards the crusade, the expenses of the crusade.
The event's theme is Reinvesting in Your Foundation. A total of 7 pastors from various churches are coming back to assist in rejuvenating the number of members within the local churches. She said, based on the success of the Dominica Crusade 2013, the organizers plan to make it an annual event. Some words of encouragement were extended to Dominicans to attend the crusade.
Well, on the night of the crusade, we're going to have different worship teams. And if you listen to the talk shows, we look at what is happening in Dominica. Dominica needs Jesus, and that's the reality. We say we are land of God, we belong to God. Yes, Dominica has been dedicated to God. But for whatever reason, we stray from what we know is right. And with so many things that are happening, I think now is the right time for such an event, for us to realize we can't do anything without God. No matter what, no matter how much the IMF may say things are shaping up, and no matter how much the politicians may say, we need God.
The crusade will start off with a prayer at 4:30 p.m. and the service will begin at 6 p.m.
Watch it!
And in court news, 2 men implicated in the December 25, 2010 firebombing of the home of retired lawyer Glenworth Emmanuel have been denied bail after facing Roseau Magistrate Evelina Baptist on Thursday, May 30th, 2013. 32-year-old Denny Shillingford of St. Joseph, who confessed to the crime, was charged with arson. He was not required to plea as it is an indictable charge. 39-year-old Seco Grant, also of St. Joseph, was named by Shillingford as the individual who paid him $400 to start the fire, was charged with conspiring with Denny Shillingford to unlawfully and maliciously set fire to the home of Glenworth Emmanuel, with Glenworth and Greta Emmanuel therein. The prosecutor, Inspector Michael Loader, objected to bail of both men, stating, if granted bail, the men would abscond the jurisdiction, pervert the course of justice, and interfere with the witnesses in the matter. He also told the court that investigations are ongoing and one has to consider the severity of the offense allegedly committed by the individuals. However, attorney for Shillingford, David Bruni, stated his client has never left the state and has no history of not appearing in court, and challenged the prosecution to prove otherwise. Meanwhile, Grant, who is represented by attorney Zina Dyer, was defended by Dawn Yearwood Stewart on Mrs. Dyer's behalf, stated, as her client received the information that he was wanted in Dominica, he booked a flight back to Dominica. She added even when he was arrested, he fully cooperated with the police authorities, and his actions show that he will remain in Dominica until this matter comes to an end. He is in no way a flight risk and is willing to submit his Dominican passport to the authorities, she said. Mrs. Yearwood Stewart also told the court that Grant is willing to report to the St. Joseph police station every day if granted bail, and he cannot interfere with any witnesses as he does not know who they are. The outspoken police prosecutor, Inspector Claude Weeks, counteracted Mrs. Yearwood Stewart's bail application, noting if granted bail, Grant, who operates a business in the United States while being a U.S. citizen, would not remain in Dominica. Inspector Weeks also said Grant knew he was wanted in Dominica as a person of interest in the case long before the recent request by the Acting Director of Public Prosecution, Mr. Julian Prevost. Before handing down her judgment in relation to bail, Magistrate Baptist stated she is concerned by the statement of the DPP that if Grant does not willingly return to Dominica, he would prepare to have him extradited, which is very serious. She added the only reason Grant returned to Dominica was that he was concerned of losing his United States citizenship. Bail was then denied. Grant will be remanded at the Stockton State Prison until June 6, 2013, before another bail application can be made on his behalf. The trial is scheduled for September 26, 2013, while disclosure is set for July 30th, 2013.
Look, they already start fire bombing Polistown. Second Grand Dominica disfavor. Where you pass, the night of the fire. Then the boy tell the commissioner, was it he had iron gate or the easy door? Burn, 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 just burn, just burn, just burn.
This has been the local segment of the news. Coming up next, regional highlights. In order to improve the efficiency of our services, SAT Telecommunications Limited wishes to advise the residents of Portsmouth and environs that in addition to conducting business at the Central Cooperative Credit Union and the National Bank of Dominica, they will now be able to make payments, new applications, fault reports, and any other concerns at the Cabritz Agency Limited based on Bay Street, Portsmouth, effective Monday, 3rd June 2013. We thank you for your cooperation in this matter and look forward to serving you better. Remember, SAT Telecoms is the people's choice and SATnet a better choice.